Welcome back to Samoto Homestead. So today / tonight, I'm gonna show you how to turn field corn into tortillas, corn tortillas, using a Vitamix blender. So if you know anything about making whole wheat bread from wheat berries with your Vitamix, this is gonna be kind of the same idea. So the first thing we're gonna do is I've rinsed the corn. I found like some bad pieces in it that we discarded. You might find stones. Definitely don't want those in there. So anything like that you want to toss. This is 2 cups of corn. You're gonna put the corn into a big stainless steel pot. Get it all in there. You want like 7 to 8 cups of water. These are my helpers tonight. They're helping me out making these tortillas. We did 2 cups corn, we did 8 cups of water, and now we're gonna do a tablespoon of pickling lime. And we're just gonna sprinkle it into the water. Whew. You do not wanna breathe this in. It can burn your lungs. Okay, now we are going to put it on low and let it come to a boil very slowly. I'm gonna stir it in there and just let it dissolve. And then, like I said, it's gonna come to a very slow boil. A fun little story on how I started making tortillas from filled corn. This is not something I just like decided I would do one day, just for the fun of it. So we had been ordering field corn from Azure Standard, and we were giving it to our chickens because they were picky and they would make a mess and waste half of it. We just decided not to make it anymore. It was just too much work. So I had 3 50-pound bags of field corn because I wanted to make sure that if something happened with Azure Standard during COVID, I had enough stuff to make chicken food. So now I have all this field corn. So I was Googling what to do with field corn and different ways that I could use it, and I found this and I thought, hey, we like corn tortillas. I have a Vitamix. I might be able to figure this out. So I decided I'd play around with it and see what I could come up with, and I'm really excited about what I was able to do. Once it comes to a boil, you're gonna reduce your heat and let it simmer for 30 minutes. You're going to stir it occasionally during that 30 minutes. And then once that 30 minutes is up, you're gonna turn it off, put a lid on it, and let it sit covered for 8 to 12 hours. So after they sat, they will become soft, and that's when you can grind them. But before you do that, you wanna make sure you rinse them at least 3 to 4 times. You want the water to run clear to get all of that lime and everything off of them. The water was clear, so we're gonna go ahead and start making our tortilla dough. Okay, so I have a Vitamix Creations Turbo, and I've had this for at least 11 years. And it has lasted so well. I got it to make baby food with, and I've been able to make bread and dough and applesauce and everything. It's amazing. But when I had these, I thought about how I used wheat berries to make bread, and I wondered if I could do the same thing with the corn. So I'm doing the same basic idea that you would do if you were making bread from your wheat berries. So I've put in about 1.5 cups. I'm gonna do this in batches, and I'm gonna use my tamper to get it down into the blades. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it on high, and then I'm gonna just turn it on and let it kind of grind a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my tamper in and start hitting it down as it's grinding. So like I said, I'm doing this in batches. So this is my first batch. I have a little measuring cup and I'm just going to spoon this in there. If you have ever made the whole wheat dough, you grind your wheat berries before you add your water and yeast and all that and make your dough. So that's what I basically did. I just went to grind the corn down, and then I'll put it all back in, add some water, and it'll turn into dough magically. It's not super consistent all the way through. That's why I'll put it back in and run it through again. So now all of my, well, not all, I've got like all this over here, but I've put in an amount I'm comfortable working with, and I'm going to add some water, and I'm going to knead it with my spatula. So putting in a little bit of water, and I'm going to just flip this switch quickly 5 times. Now I take the lid off and kind of just move it around. Like I said, this is exactly how I would make the bread dough. So it feels a little bit dry still. It's still really crumbly in there, so I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Put this back on. I did a little more than 5 times. I did it like 7 or 8, I don't know. But essentially this is just getting that water mixed all the way through and getting it off the sides. So it's pretty wet. I'm gonna keep just flipping this switch, and I just kind of play with the consistency. You just want a nice dense dough. You kind of want it to feel like Play-Doh. So I have a few chunks in there still. I'm just gonna keep moving it around. It's pretty wet. I don't want it to be any more wet. I just want it to mix at this point. So I'm getting it off the sides and kind of lifting it from the blade. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I think I just slung dough somewhere. This is looking pretty good. So I'm gonna pull it out and show you. So it is like Play-Doh. And then what you will essentially do is you'll take that and you'll roll it into like golf ball size balls. And I smash mine with a pie plate, and then you fry them. That's like it. That's literally all you have to do. I would do the same process with the rest of the dough, and then you're done. And it can be chilled, you can use it right away. It's really just whatever you have time for. It's a really easy, flexible recipe. As you can tell, it's been a little bit more than 8 to 12 hours, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, so in making these the first time, I learned some very important tricks. So first of all, you want to use a clear pie plate because you can actually see what you're doing, what's going on in there with your tortilla. Also, corn tortillas tear very easily, so I use parchment paper, and then I take a little bit of oil and I put oil on my parchment paper right where I'm going to put my dough ball. One thing you also need to know is that this pan is super hot, but you don't want oil in it. You're gonna have a little bit of oil residue from your parchment, and I used a little too much oil the first time, and my first couple tortillas were really oily and gross. So you do not wanna do that. So I've oiled this parchment. I'm gonna put a little dough ball down. This piece of parchment I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take some oil, and my children call this painting the parchment. Just gonna go ahead and put some more oil down on it, and then again I'm gonna put that oiled spot down, and you can see the dough ball in there, and I put the dough ball right in the middle, and then you just press down, and I kind of give it a little bit of a swirl. Again, you have to play with this. You don't want it too thin or it will tear. They are going to be a little thicker than your flour tortillas, but you saw how easily that came off. That was not my experience the first time. You definitely want to make sure this is oiled. Now also, this is where they can tear. So I flip the whole thing over on my hand and just carefully pull it off, and then flip it into the pan and have my spatula ready. And it doesn't take too long, but you want to make sure it's set up really well. So you'll see it starting to cook on the edges, kind of like pancakes, I guess. You can see the corn is starting to cook on the edges, and that's when you can go ahead and flip it. And of course, the other side, like pancakes, doesn't take as long to cook. When I'm using my larger cast iron and I'm making a lot, I just kind of scooch them over to the side, a little less on the flame, and keep making some dough balls. So, or some tortillas. So this one's done and ready to eat. Okay, so Jeremy is gonna be my taste tester. I may have already taken a taste.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. The cook gets the first taste, right?
Sure. Very good.
I'm like so excited about how good these taste because I have lots of field corn to use. So, anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I hope y'all give it a try. Let me know if you do and how you like it. Have a great week. Be blessed.